Here with me today, I got Gareth. For OPSEC reasons, I am not going to reveal his name. So you might see his face down the line if you decide to go down CRNA route. What's really good on my day ones? Welcome back to the channel. So today's a very special video, and the reason why I say special is because Gareth here is heading to CRNA school. He was my mentor coming into the Air Force, and the thing of it is, he knew what he wanted. I knew I didn't want to go to CRNA school, but I thought it was pretty cool that he did the whole process. And I think I can't really answer, the whole CRNA process, and he's the only one who can. And I'm gonna have him talk about his brief background real quick, so you guys kind of get to know who he is as a person.
So I went to St. Louis University. I did ROTC for 4 years, actually 5. I wanted to be a doctor actually initially, and then I found about nursing and how easy it would be to get into the Air Force, easy-ish. And so I did nursing through that, and through nursing in college I found out about CRNA. After graduating, I went to Travis and I became a med-surg nurse. You only had 2 options, med-surg or OB at that time. You could not go straight to the ICU if you were a brand new nurse. I did about 3.5 years on the med-surg unit at Travis, and then I applied to the ICU fellowship, which at that time was 1 year. Now it's, I think, 4 months. I went to Luke Air Force Base to do that. I did that for a year, and then I got stationed following that at Brooke Army Medical Center. Great hospital to be at if you were trying to apply for CRNA, because it has the most critical care sections. I think it's like 5 or 6 or something like that. So lots of opportunities to hone your ICU skills and prep you for becoming, or I guess trying to find that path to apply to school. So yeah.
So like that of the civilian sector, there is a clinical pathway or a process to applying to CRNA school. So for the civilian sector, you have to have like a biochem or what was the other chem, or OChem, and your GRE score has to be above 300, and then you could apply to school. Of course, you have to have like stellar, like BSN grades, and it's preferred BSN before you even apply to a CRNA school because it is a DNP program. And the trend of it is right now is a lot of people are getting their masters then applying into CRNA school, which it does give you the upper hand. However, that's an extra 2 years of your life, which some people don't want to do. And if you want to be competitive, of course, get your CCRN, your CSC, CMC. I'm going to have him talk about the process in applying to CRNA school, because it's a different process. I mean, similar process, but it's a different process in the Air Force that we do. And I can't speak on behalf of that, which he can.
For those that are, I was basically, so if y'all follow my journey, I guess you could say, is going directly from ROTC, and your goal is to be a CRNA in the future. It took me about, I would say, I started in 2014, it's 2022, 23, wait, what is it? 2022. So that's about 8 years or something like that.
3.
I applied in 2022, and I'm going to school in 2023. So it's taken me about 8 years or so to actually even start school, and then school is 3 more years. So it's a very long journey from a graduate nurse, with a BSN. So the process is, like Jensen said, you have to have a BSN or an MSN in nursing. You are applying the year before you're actually going to school, right? So I applied last year, and the application starts in roughly February, March. So for the Air Force, you are doing 2 things at once. You're doing 2 applications. So the way I like to think about it is, you have your school, which is USAF. CRNAs currently, though that are going through the Air Force, can only go to USAF. They cannot go to their school of choice. Only USAF that you can go to. So that is one application. So you're applying to school. And that application opens up, like I said, February, March. It is my advice that if this is the route you're taking, that you start applications basically as soon as they become available. You want to be doing shadowing at your MTFs.
How many hours is that?
Minimum of 20, but you definitely want to do a lot because you shadow, like for example, I shadowed for 10 hours one time. So you can technically say I only have to do 2 shifts, and you're not really gonna experience anything in 20 hours if it's 2 shifts. You want to have lots of patients that you want to see. You want to see lots of different, it's not just going in the OR. You want to be in the OB. You want to see kind of everything that CRNA has to offer, or the anesthesia realm, to really give you that feeling of this is what I want to do, because this is what you're going to be doing for the rest of your career. You're going to school for basically a long time, and it's going to be hard, and so you want to be sure that this is exactly what you want to do. So that's why shadowing is important. So 20 is the minimum, but I encourage everyone to do a lot more. And you can start even years prior, but you have to have at least 20 in the current year of your application. There's going to be an essay that they will have a prompt for you when the application comes out. And then you definitely want to have your CCRN, because that shows that you are competent in the current field. You want to have at least 2 years of experience. Sometimes on the outside you can have 1, but with the military they have this thing called time on station, and so they will not let you leave your current base unless you serve 2 years on that base. So then in turn that basically gives you 2 years of experience minimum. I applied with about 3 to 4 because didn't think I was really prepared beforehand. And that kind of speaks to being self-aware of, are you ready now or not yet? Do you need to do some more things? And then you also need to have letters of recommendation, which will be one from a supervisor, one from a CRNA, and then that knows you pretty well. So it's encouraged that you shadow somebody over and over and over again, so they kind of get to know you as a person and how you work in the OR room. And then one from the chief nurse, who is the head of all nursing in that MTF. So that's one aspect, excuse me. So that's U-Shoes. And then on the other part we have AFIT. And so AFIT you can think of basically a scholarship. That's how I think of it. I have school and I have a scholarship. And so AFIT is just Air Force. And that is how you are getting money. That's how the school is getting money for you to get, to go to school. Because the school has to still get paid. And so that is another application. So what happens for that is there's this thing called Call of Candidates that comes out in late May, early June. And you have about until August to get everything done in that application window, right? So you have to have an interview with the CRNA consultant. You have to have some of the things you're going to be doing that you're doing for school will do the same thing for CRNA or AFIT, excuse me. And so you're not going to do multiple things at once. You can use some things for the program as well. But same thing, CCRN, making sure that you have the interview, making sure you have the shadow hours, and then basically answering questions that the Air Force is now going to review, right? So the school is looking at you from an academic perspective, mostly, right? They're looking at your GPA, they're looking at your experience as an ICU nurse, so on and so forth. And they will look at officership here and there, because after all, it is still a military school. AFIT is also going to look at your grades and GREs and such, GREs for school as well, and all those things, but they're also going to look at your officer performance evaluations, right? So what have you done in your entire career up to this point? Have you been working towards becoming a CRNA? And that will show in your yearly reports. At the end of the we have bullets, well now it's changing, but there will always be some kind of push line towards what does this member want to do in their future. Some people don't know, and that's okay. It's not the end of the world if every year there's something changing, but if CRNA or any advanced degree, honestly, if that is what you're going to be going for, you're going to want to kind of solidify that, you know, about 2 to 3 years before school, because then that will show, those OPRs will build up on each other, saying, okay, he wants to go to CNA, he wants to go to CRNA, he still wants to go to CRNA, and they're like, okay, so he wants to go to CRNA, great. And then now they're going to look at what has he done in terms of improving himself and his unit, his hospital, where he works at, what has he done to better them, and so that then that will show us for the future that yes, you know, we will select him because he has shown us that he improves the things around him, and that we have faith that, you know, he will go through school and then he will continue to better the Air Force. And that is how I think about it when I applied. And I think that is how, you know, the General Air Force does look at it. It might vary here and there. Yes, it is a vigorous process. It can be a long journey for some. You know, if you are direct commissioning and you have experience, it will definitely be shorter for you. But you also got to think about on the back end, you already paid nursing years on the civilian side. And so you have that to bring with you to the interviews to talk about, yes, I've had 5, 10, or 2, 3 experiences or ICU experience years compared to somebody that's been grown throughout the Air Force. So don't think of yourselves as at a disadvantage, but just if you are coming in direct accession, make sure that you are working on yourself. I don't like to say, try to find things to put down on the OPR, because that is the wrong type of thinking. I think it's try to put things down because you found ways to better yourself while in the Air Force. You are growing yourself within our community. And while you're growing, you are also growing our community at the same time. And then that will showcase a lot better actually in the next years, because we're switching the way we write OPRs. That will showcase you better, and it will make you a better candidate for these advanced programs.
He has a lot of good points that he touched upon, especially with like competitiveness. And one thing I don't know if he could speak upon, I'm going to try to find one of these candidates who could speak upon like direct CRNA sessions. Apparently, during this class that he's going in, there was one direct accession, meaning say someone came directly from the civilian side and is going straight to U-Shoes, and they got accepted by AFIT. So not only did they get the accepted to the school, they got the scholarship too. So they're going straight from civilian into schooling, and then they're going to come out as a brand new Air Force CRNA, if that makes sense. In terms of slot availability, how much are they looking at per year?
So it's hard to say. So for example, I will give you kind of the, I guess 3 years running now. So 2 years ago, the AFIT accepted 9 applicants. So 9 slots were available. And then last year, 9 slots were available again. This year, there were only 5 slots. Well, actually, there was 5 slots, but I believe it was 6 because of the direct accession. And unfortunately, I don't know that person. So only 5 from the active duty Air Force were able to receive slots. The thing that I say about, that speaks to BAMC, the Brooke Army Medical Center, is that 4 of those 5 spots came from this hospital. And that is to speak to that we see a lot more actually ICU patients. You see more drips, you see more vents. We have trauma, we have med surg, we have MICU, PICU, burns. And so having those experiences makes you a stronger candidate. I'm not downplaying the other MTFs, but it just kind of shows that, BAMC does give you sometimes the upper edge. Now, you cannot, if later on you message Genesis and say how many, slots are there available this year, we as students and nurses do not know. And so what I can talk about is kind of the process of how it, determines roughly. So around this time, it's every year is a cyclical, I guess, kind of thing. And so around this time, right, so candidates were notified that they got into school roughly last December. Then there's a hiatus period, and then this cycle restarts. And so right now we're in this period of where the consultants for each basically job, CRNA, FNP, Psych, CNS, all those jobs are now vetting their career group, who's getting out, who's retiring. Maybe some people are not passing school, so we will not have one more CRNA that's available in the coming years. And after they gather that data, they push it up to our AFPC, which is our function corp, and they say, hey, for year 2027, I will need 9 more or 6 more CRNAs. But at the same time, there's another career group that's also saying, for example, FNPs. Yes, we will also need 9 or 10 new FNPs by 2027. And so that goes up there, everyone submits their numbers. And after that, it's all about money. The bigger Air Force says you are allotted such a bag of money. And then that basically then needs to distribute down into the actual core groups, the jobs of how much money do we have to send these amount of people. And that really is what determines at the end of the day how many slots are available. Now, I'm just guesstimating or estimating, or what is it? I don't know the word. For example, if maybe there's not enough applicants that apply to a specific job, maybe that job can negotiate to give the job over to somebody else, and then that would, give a better slot. But that is kind of how it works. And then once that process usually finishes around June-ish, and that's when they start the interview process for AFIT. And so, because now the Air Force is more aware of okay, yes, this year we're gonna have 6 slots. However, I will tell you, they will never tell you how many slots there are when you're applying. That's just a thing. It's to, I don't know, keep your hands closed or something like that, make it, not make you not stressed. But let me tell you, it does not matter. It wouldn't matter if I knew there were 10 slots or 1 slot. I would still do the best that I can, because at the end of the day, you're still competing. So it doesn't matter who you're competing with. You just need to be the best yourself. That's all I got on that.
That is basically the gist of everything, and I just wanted to encapsulate everything that I could not answer for you guys, and he's kind of nailed everything. Any words of motivation?
Maybe. I have one more thing. So, so for the direct sessions that are going directly into CRNA, it is very, very hard, I think, because you're basically condensing a lot of things at one time, right? This is not to discourage anybody. I encourage everyone to go in the Air Force. It is the best thing ever in my life. I really think so. But what you're doing is, because for the people that are direct accessioning, you're doing lots of things. You're applying to get into the big Air Force. Then you're applying to school. You're also applying to AFIT, and then you're going through a lot of things that Genesis, you could talk about this probably in terms of what you have to do to actually direct a session into the Air Force, and that will be a similar process. And so for you all, it will probably be very stressful. I don't discourage it though, because you're doing what he did and then you're doing what I did at the same time. And so, if you are interested in doing that, I encourage you to start looking, 1 to 2 years ahead, before you're even thinking of applying to school. you already got to think about, you already have to apply a year out, right? So, you know, people that are starting right now, somebody has already done 80% of their application, and it's only the beginning of March, and applications close in August. I forgot to say that. Applications are closed in August for both school and AFIT. But words of encouragement, I have lived the Air Force life my entire life. I have not known really anything else. I have done a little bit of outside nursing, and let me tell you, I would not do it again, because Air Force nursing is very unique. It's very unique. I have had amazing opportunities. I will say, you know, I did not want to go into med surg. I really did not think that I would have to. I'm a type of guy that wants to get to the top very fast. I'm very motivated. But I think that, you know, I'm sure lots of other people said med surg, you know, grows you, but it's not just that. It's you're growing as an officer, and that's the difference between just thinking about nursing and actually thinking about officership. And for those that are thinking about this, you know, this program, you know, don't think of it as just going and getting a degree. You are joining a very large community, the Air Force, and then, you know, the smaller entity inside of it, the Nurse Corps, and you have to grow, right? I have grown from a second lieutenant. I have grown to, you know, now captain, and the lessons that I have, you know, experienced and learned and taught I would not think I would get them anywhere else, you know, in another nursing profession. You know, sure, you can be a manager after, you know, doing, you know, a couple years on the floor and things like that, but, you know, do you deploy? No, I have deployed, and it's fantastic. It can be hard in your family, but like, it's experiences that normal people do not get. You know, we do CCATT. This is going off topic here now, but these are things that are very exciting, and you know, I encourage everyone, if you're thinking about it, you know, try it out, try it and see. You know, it's really has done wonders for me. You know, and I think it's, you know, Genesis, you know, he's in his first years, and he's having time with his life. And, you know, I encourage people that have leadership mindsets of growing others. That's who I really want to see in our Air Force. And because that is what I strive to do. I think that growing the younger generation, he's older than me, but growing the younger generation of officers will make our Air Force last longer, and be more lethal. Yeah, come join.
And that pretty much concludes this video. I want to say thanks to Gareth, and I wish him all the luck in CRNA school. He's about to leave the end of this month. It's just insane, because the cyclic thing in the Air Force is meeting people but also leaving them. And I remember the conversation we had about a year ago, maybe a little over than a year ago. He was like, you're gonna be in my shoes by the time I leave. And fast forward, and he's leaving for CRNA school, and all the responsibilities that he once had have now fallen upon me. I'm directly supervising one person, but at the same time I'm seeing like operations on a wing level, and also, you know, on top of my ICU job. These are the things that are going to develop you, and it's developed him. Look at where he's going. He's going to go and do a lot of great things. And just because I'm not going down CRNA doesn't mean that Air Force nursing isn't for me. There's just different venues that you could take in the Air Force. He's just taking the CRNA route. I'm taking more of a leadership route. And whatever it is that you want to do in the Air Force, there is a place for you. that highlights your talents and whatever it is that you want to do. So those are my words of encouragement, and also again to congratulate him, and I wish you luck, man. You're gonna do great things. But besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Next time you see him, it'll probably be like a follow-up video in like 4 years when he is at CRNA intubating someone. But I hope you guys are doing great, and good luck, dude.
Thank you.
Take care.